I'm Leslie Millwee. I am a wife, a mother. I work for a nonprofit for cancer awareness, and I was sexually assaulted by Bill Clinton.
When did this happen? When did you first encounter Bill Clinton and why?
I was a television reporter. I started with the station when I was 19 and turned 20, and I worked in Fort Smith and Fayetteville, Arkansas, for a TV channel there. And he was the governor of Arkansas, and I interviewed him and spent time with him a lot as a result of the Fort Chaffee, all the Cuban refugees that came in to Fort Chaffee. And as a result, he spent a lot of time there. And that was my beat. That was the place that I went to nearly every day to do a story.
So Fort Chaffee, you're working in a local TV station. First of all, you went by a different name back then, correct?
I did. I was known as Leslie Derrick, and I worked there. I probably interviewed Bill Clinton probably 20 times during the course of my year there. I interviewed him on social events and things that were happening within the state, and then Fort Chaffee happened in the spring. And then as a result of him being there so much, I also had the opportunity to spend time with him because he spent a lot of time there.
And then did you interview him inside your TV station as well?
I did. I interviewed him at the TV station, I interviewed him in the community, and I interviewed him at Fort Chaffee.
When did he start acting inappropriately toward you, and what did he do exactly?
When I first noticed his behavior toward me, I was in the TV station, and we had a very large newsroom, and he would single me out, and after I met him the first time, he would come up to me, and he always would approach me and say something like, "Hey, pretty girl, how are you today?" He would follow me around the station. Just made me feel uncomfortable. It was a situation where it was kind of a joke at our TV station. My cameraman and some other people that worked there would say, you know, "I think he really likes you." And because he would always single me out when, you know, when he first walked in. But he started making inappropriate gestures. We were responsible for editing our own stories, and we had a very small editing room. And he had touched my shoulder and done other things to me before in public around other people, but that was just his nature to be very, you know, demonstrative and touchy-feely, as I call it. But he followed me into an editing room the first time I remember that it was very small. There was a chair. I was sitting in a chair. He came up behind me and started rubbing my shoulders and running his hands down toward my breasts. And I was just stunned. I froze. I asked him to stop. He laughed. That happened on 3 occasions, and each time it escalated where the you know, aggressive nature of his touch and what he was doing behind me escalated.
You say Bill Clinton comes in. He's touching you, you say, but what specifically did he do to you?
He came up behind me. It's very close quarters. You have to understand that his private parts were right at my neck. I was sitting in a chair. He's touching me on my shoulders, working his hands down from behind, and he starts to hunch me. He did that the first time. The second time, which was probably a week or so later, I did approach him after he did it the first time, and I said, "Please don't ever do anything like that to me again. It's very offensive, it's upsetting, and I do not want you to do that." He laughed, And the second time, about a week later, he came in. He made a beeline immediately for me. I excused myself, went to the editing room, and he came in behind me, started hunching me to the point that he had an orgasm. He's trying to touch my breasts, and I'm just sitting there very stiffly, just waiting for him to leave me alone. And I'm asking him the whole time, please do not do this, do not touch me, do not hunch me. I do not want this. And he finished doing what he was doing and walked out.
He took out his private parts?
I do not know. I did not see that. I could feel what he was doing from behind me. I do not know if he had taken, private parts out, or if he was doing it. I assumed he was doing it through the material, but I could be wrong.
About how long did that last?
Probably 3 to 5 minutes. And I'm asking him the whole time to please stop. Please don't do this. I would not turn around. I was just praying somebody would come in through the door, knock on the door, but it was over pretty quickly. He actually did that on 2 occasions.